All right. Uh, Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar. So my name is Rohan, and I'm going to be the instructor on this particular webinar for today. So, guys, just to know about my background, I have like around 8 years of experience, 5 years of experience, but specifically working with ClearPass. Apart from that, I have expertise in multiple technologies as well, which includes technologies like SD-WAN and technologies like firewalls, Palo Alto firewalls, and checkpoint firewalls, and apart from that, routing and switching. So it's like a kind of a I'm like kind of a full stack network engineer, I would say. So not limited to a single technology. Uh, have a have expertise in multiple technology as well. All right, so I'm going to share my screen real quick. So I hope everyone is able to see my screen. Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys. So thank you so much again for enrolling in this particular lecture. So Aruba ClearPass Fundamentals, we are going to talk about that. What are the use cases? We are going to talk about the topics. That what are the major topics? Not limited to ClearPass. We are going to also talk about some legacy protocols, which is not only used by ClearPass. It is being used by multiple products in the industry. So I hope you have heard about Cisco ISE. So ISE is also a kind of similar product. So if you're going to attend this particular lecture, you're going to clear the concept of Cisco ISE as well, that what protocol to use, what is the use of the protocol, what are the use cases of the protocol, and whatnot. So that is something which we are going to cover in this. So what to expect? So the expectations. So like after this lecture, uh, you should be able to understand of wireless security in a very fast way. I mean, the way you look the wireless security right now would be entirely changed. So you're going to learn about the BYOD. You're going to learn about the integrations, MDM integrations. You're going to learn about the Active Directory integrations, Azure integrations, Intune integrations, and whatnot. So it's like a full stack thing, I would say. It's not limited to only AAA. It is going to be integrations as well. So integration include MDM and integration with the firewalls. The like ClearPass do support integration with the firewalls like Juniper, Palo Alto, and Checkpoint. So we are going to cover everything in this. So after this particular after enrolling for this particular course, you should be able to answer all the architect level questions. I'm not saying associate level questions. You should be able to answer all the architect level questions, which includes interview questions as well. So if you're going to appear for any interview which is scheduled for recently, or you are planning to get a job in AAA, or not only limited to ClearPass, if you're planning to get a job in any IAM or AAA role, this course would be very beneficial for you. So yeah, so that's what you can expect from us. So from you, I would expect a daily making of the notes. I would expect that you should create notes for every topic. Apart from that, I would expect you guys to get a laptop with at least like 16 GB of RAM, so you can deploy your own lab. So by like deploying your own lab, you should be able to do the practice. But if that's not possible, that's absolutely fine. You can just go to the theoretical parts as well, and the practical part we are going to cover everything in this. I will also show you that how can you get the free demo access to the Aruba ClearPass stuff. Okay, so who should enroll for this? So I have just mentioned network engineers, network administrator, pen testers, IAM administrator. It's not limited to this. If you are a VP, if you are if you are a manager and it's a part of your job, you want to understand that how the ClearPass works, that is also going to be beneficial for you. So we are going to cover everything in it. So for an example, if you are managing like 20 uh, uh, people like in a team, and you want to understand that how the product works inside and outside, just because dealing with technical guys is as a managerial person, dealing with technical guys is sometimes is going to be challenging. So if you want to deal with the technical people, that is something which is going to be beneficial for you. So you can enroll for it if you have any plans to work in AAA, if you are an like if you're a network engineer, if you are a network security administrator. And also right now, ClearPass right now is in boom. So I would say if you are trying to find a job in the industry, it's going to be an additional skill within your CV. Also, you can enroll for. Also, you can appear for the certification that we will talk about by end of this particular lecture. Uh, Key areas. So these are some key areas we are going to focus on today. So policy is not going to the part of it. Sorry about that. Policy is not going to be the part of it. Policy is going to be a part of the main lecture. We are going to talk about we're going to talk about how the AAA works. What are going to be the protocols, like basic protocols, and how does 802.1x works. It's like today these three topics we are going to cover. Only these three topics. So that is also mentioned here. So you can go through that. Today we are going to talk about AAA basics, how like AAA works, protocols, what are the protocols being involved, and how 802.1x works. It's not limited to how 802.1x works. We're going to talk about multiple authentication methods as well. So multiple authentication methods include EAP, TLS, EPEEP, and whatnot. So we're going to talk about each of them. Okay, so objectives from this particular course, or from this particular entire course, would be to make sure that you are able to understand the ClearPass from inside to outside, not limited to ClearPass. You are able to understand the protocols from inside to outside, that how the E protocol works, how the security mechanism works. Whenever log into your company's Wi-Fi, and or else whenever you log into your company's Ethernet connection, or you try to access the guest portal, what is the mechanism behind that? So by the end of this lecture, you should be able to understand everything. Also, we are going to talk about the posture assessment, that how you can maintain the health of your computers, like health of the endpoints which are being present. So you can maintain the health of your endpoints as well by using ClearPass, which is going to require some additional software. We're gonna talk about that. You're gonna make the integration very easy. People, I know that people do talk about integration very much if you are from the AAA background. So we're going to make the integration easy. We're going to talk about not only limited to the configuration, we will take a look on every packet, that how the packet is going out of the box and what we are getting back. So we're going to talk about everything here. So the things we are going to cover is everything about the protocols, everything about the ClearPass, everything about the architecture of the ClearPass, how we are going to implement it, what are the best practices, how the clustering works, how the monitoring and reporting works, and how can you use the APIs as well to modify your stuff in ClearPass. So we're going to talk about APIs as well. The things we are not going to cover, some basic things like uh, how TCP works, how UDP works. That is something I would expect from you people. So if you are not aware of it, I would expect you to at least go for CCNA. Not I would not expect much, but at least go for CCNA to understand what is TCP, what is UDP, and what is the role of AAA. But that is also something we are going to cover. Okay, right now, anyone has any questions or doubts, anything, please feel free to ask. If not, then we can continue.
I have a question.
Hmm. Sure,
So,
Mohammed.
what would be the alternative of the Aruba in the vendors market if you would like to use the Radius server in your current
Uh,
organization?
so we have a free Radius server, Open Radius, which is available. But right now, there is a very good competition between Aruba ClearPass and Cisco ICE. Have you heard of Cisco ICE?
No.
Yeah. So Cisco ICE and Aruba ClearPass are two products which are right now like kind of working peak to peak. So uh, it would be the alternative, but there are multiple products available right now. Pulse Secure is also giving this like a similar solution. Fortinet is also giving the similar solution. But I would not discourage anyone, but the features, or we are going to talk about integrations. ClearPass has no match. Uh, like if you are going, you have multiple integration options available on the ClearPass. That that is not supported by any other vendor. So you can integrate any of your firewall, not like limited to Palo Alto. You can integrate any of your firewall if you are expert in the integration. So we're going to talk about the integration as well in this. So this is something I would say that right now ClearPass does not have any match. But if you are going to talk about the competitors in the market, ICE is something which people prefer to use.
I
Any
see.
other question?
So,
Hmm.
you mean ICE is Identity Services Engine,
Right,
Cisco?
that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So
Hello.
yeah,
So is it ClearPass will work with multi-vendor? Any like other HP products or Juniper products? Will
yeah,
it
we
work
do
with it?
support. Yeah, we do support Juniper firewall integration. Definitely.
If we learn this ClearPass, are the concepts similar to ICE? ICE, Cisco ICE?
Yeah, concepts are different. Definitely, it's different. The protocols which it is going to use is going to be same. So protocols, let's say you are using OSPF in router in like Cisco routers. Similarly, you are using OSPF in the HP router. So these are two different products, right? So similarly, Aruba ClearPass is a different product and Cisco ICE is a different product. So I would say the concepts are going to be different, that how the filtration is done and how the flow is there. So that is something which is going to be different. But yeah, in the end of the day, goal of both the products are same.
So the main target of this ClearPass is for only HP products? HP.
Not for HP products, for every product you can integrate, you can like authenticate every vendor. That's absolutely fine.
Is
Not
this
only
a,
limited to HP product. That
okay?
was just an example.
This is a software product or any device, hardware device?
we
ClearPass.
have we have both the options available. We have software, which is going to be a virtual appliance, as well as we have a hardware device available. Also, we can deploy the product in AWS cloud or like Azure cloud.
Okay, one last question. Will it work with the Cisco device also? The
Absolutely, it will work.
okay, thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. So before proceeding further, before starting the course, I would like to know how many of you are working in the security or any one working with the ClearPass or similar AAA products. Anyone in the meeting right now?
I'm working.
Okay, so you're working with ClearPass.
Yeah, ClearPass and cybersecurity and the network
Okay,
administration, a lot of
understood.
things.
Understood. Okay, so there might be a few
Just
topics.
yeah, I'm just here to recall my, the concepts and everything.
Absolutely, that would be great.
Yeah, although it's my day-to-day job with the ClearPass. So yeah,
Okay,
from learning point of view. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so the human factor is truly security's weakest link. So whenever you talk about the security or the security breach, it's not because of it's not because of the security administrator. It is because of the user. So when, let's say, if user is going to access something, if he is going to access if he like if he is going to get a phishing email, like you got a lottery of $1,000 or like something like that, people are going to click on it and they would be able to get trapped. So I would say the like the human factor is the truly security weakest link, because the end user is the only reason always that why the company face breaches and the company face like uh, like all that stuff. Okay, so ClearPass plays a role here just because ClearPass authenticates every user and give the access to the user limited to that particular thing. So let's say if the user A wants to access A, B, C, and the user B wants to access B and C, so we can configure the policy according to our requirement, and according to that, we should be able to give the limited access to the user. We're going to talk about that. Now let's jump to the topic. So what is AAA? So that's a basic foundation for any network access control tool. Let's say for ICE, for ClearPass, for Pulse Secure, for like everything. So what is AAA? AAA is nothing but it stands for authentication, authorization, and accounting. Now, what does the authentication means? Now, I'm not gonna explain verbally much. I will bring on my whiteboard real quick, explain to people about it. Give me a second. Okay, perfect. So the first thing we're going to talk about is authentication. What is authentication? Now, let's say for an example, um, Mr. X is a user.
Excuse me, are you sharing the screen? Because I cannot see anything.
Yes. Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
And I have a request to Mr. Sam. Can you please mute yourself so we can hear clearly? Thank you.
Let me share my screen real quick. I hope you are able to see it now.
Yeah, we good.
Okay, perfect. So let's say we have a user, Mr. X. Okay. And the user want to access my wireless, like my company's SSID, or let's say wireless SSID. So if you are working in the organization,
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you please mute himself?
let me. I
Thank
hope
you.
it is fine now.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. So let's say this is a AAA server, not limited to ClearPass, any AAA. Okay. So how it's gonna work is HistoryX is going to send a request to the wireless appliance. Now there can be a wired appliance as well, but we are just for an example, we are taking an example of a wireless appliance. So let's say it's an access point. Now the access point is integrated with a AAA server, And every request, see how it's going to work is every request which the user is going to send to the AP is going to come with a protocol called EAP. Okay, so EAP protocol is going to work between the user and the wireless appliance. So in this actual lecture, we will also talk about EAP, uh, like uh, like along with the captures, that how the EAP actually works. So right now we are just going to give an example that what is EAP and what is the use of it, but not we are not going to go in so much of details. So now let's say the user is going to connect to the SSID. SSID name is let's say user A B C. That's the name of the SSID. Okay. Now the user is going to connect to this SSID. It will ask for his credentials. Okay, credentials. Now credentials. Let's say the user credentials are his X, and the password is XYZ. Now, once the user is going to enter this username and password, this particular username and password is going to get encapsulated with the EAP protocol, which is actually a 802.1x protocol. It will be encapsulated with the EAP protocol, and that particular packet will be sent to the wireless access point. Now, what the wireless access point will do? It will have a secret key. Now, what secret key it is going to be? We are going to talk about that. It is going to have a secret key. Now, this username and password X and XYZ is going to get encrypted with the secret key. That's how it's going to work. X and XYZ is going to create a hash, and that particular hash is going to get multiplied by the secret key, which is going to create a value. Now, this particular packet will be forwarded to AAA server, and the AAA server is going to decode it by using the same username and password and same key. Now, from where it will get this username and password X and XYZ, we are going to have it maybe with the integration, or else it should be configured locally on the server. Now, what integration I'm talking about? Maybe you have integrated a AD here, Active Directory, right? AD is going to have all the username and password, right? Agree? So AD is going to have all the username and password. It is going to fetch that password from the AD and then going to hatch the value using the value we got from here with the value we got from here. Once it is able to see that the values are same, it will say that the user is authenticated. The user has the same value, which means the user is like authenticated, and will be giving a accept to the wireless appliance. Now, once the wireless appliance is going to get an accept, it will give the access to this particular user. Now, the user would be assigned with a VLAN, or like a user would be assigned with a role. We're gonna talk about role in future lectures, so don't worry about that. But maybe let's say for now, it is going to get assigned to a VLAN. Now, anyone in class right now who does not know what is a VLAN, please be honest. All right, perfect. So the user is going to get assigned to a VLAN and would be able to access the internet or any kind of like internal or like external service, whatever the conditions we have configured on the firewall for this particular VLAN. So what is the role of authentication? Authentication is just like authenticating a user. That user is able to authenticate. The user is a u- user is a legit user. It's not someone else is trying to access this particular service. The user is a legit user and can be given the access. If the values has not matched, or let's say for an instance, if the user is going to enter a wrong password, in that particular case, the values will get mismatched. The values we are getting from the AD versus the values we are getting from the user will get mismatched, and the user will not be able to authenticate, and we will get a reject here instead of accept. So there can be two conditions: accept or reject. Okay. Um, so let me clear the screen out. Any doubts as of now? Anyone who is not able to catch up or not able to understand?
Hello, Rohan.
Yeah. Hi. Hi,
Uh,
Ramesh.
how is the communication happens between the endpoint and the AP before authorization, and how the this packet is going to till the AD?
See, AP, if the AP is independent, you have to manually configure the AAA IP address on the AP. Okay. But
Okay.
sorry. Yeah. If the AP is being managed by the controller, in that case, you have to configure the IP address of the AAA server on the controller. Controller will be pushing that particular configuration to the AP. The prerequisite is that AP and AAA should be reachable. There are some specific ports we are going to talk about. This should be reachable. Understood?
So before authorization, how the
No, we are going to talk about authentication right now, not the authorization.
yeah, before authentication,
Uh-huh.
how what how is the communication happen between the endpoint and the access point here?
So AP has an IP address in it, right? So AP is going to use its own source IP address and will send the packet to the AAA server. Okay. So let's say for an instance, the IP address of the AP is 20.1.1.2, and the IP address of this particular AAA server is 100.1.1.2. Okay. So we should have a routing between these two things, AP and the AAA. Now, whenever you are going to talk about between the computer and the AP, EAP is a layer 2 protocol. Okay, so it does not require an IP address. So what the AP is going to do, AP is going to encapsulate the layer 2 EAP packet within a within its own packet. So there are two protocols. I was thinking that we would talk about this later, but if you have mentioning this, there are two protocols, Radius and TACACS. But in this particular case, we are going to talk. We are going to only use Radius. We will come to that how Radius works. So the Radius is like the AP is going to encapsulate this E packet in the Radius packet, and the Radius packet will be sent to the AAA server. Now, once the AAA server is going to get a Radius packet, it will match that the values I'm getting from the AP, let's say the username and password of this particular user, and the shared secret key. So shared secret key on the AP and on the AAA server should be same. So we have to manually add all the APs in the in the AAA server, or else there is an option that if you can use the controller IP address instead of this, if you are there is something called a flex connect mode, right? So if you are not using if you're using the flex connect mode, the controller IP address will be used to forward the AAA packet to this. So here what it will do, the packet will be forwarded to the controller, and the controller will communicate here. Let me clear the screen one time and just explain you whatever your question is from the beginning itself. Give me a sec. Okay, so your question is that if user X will try to access something on this AP, like will try to connect to this AP, how the communication will happen between the AP and the AAA server. Is that right, Ramesh?
Yes, and the between the end system to AP also.
See, end system to AP is going to use a protocol which is called EAP. Okay. So when we talk about EAP, EAP is an independent protocol, like a layer 2 protocol. It does not require any sort of IP address. Okay. So let's say, have you heard about a protocol called spanning tree?
Yes, yes.
So spanning tree is also a layer 2 protocol. Similarly, EAP is also a layer 2 protocol. And whenever the user will send a request to the AP, it will be in the form of EAP packet. Okay. So how the wireless communication works is the user will connect to the like SSID. There, whenever you're going to enter the username and password, it will give you a prompt. Whenever you're going to add a username and password, the computer will generate a EAP start packet, and the EAP packet will have a username and password in it, and like it will be forwarded to the AP within the wireless channels. Now, once the AP is going to get this particular username and password, it will encapsulate, it will like not encapsulate, it will generate a packet, generate a radius packet, and that particular radius packet will also have the EAP username and password. Okay, username and password. So it is going to be a single packet. Now see, this is going to be a kind of like inside layer EAP username and password, and this particular EAP username and password is going to get encapsulated, or else, let's say in a simple language, it is going to get encrypted by using a radius shared secret key. Now this packet would not be viewable at all until until unless you're not aware of the like until unless you are like aware of the radius shared secret key. Now this packet, AP will use its own IP address. AP will use its own IP address to forward this packet to the AAA server. Now, whenever the AAA server is going to receive it, it is already aware of the radius shared secret key. And once it is going to receive this packet, it will decrypt the packet using the same radius shared secret key. Okay, it will decrypt the packet. Now it is aware of EAP username, like the username we have added, and the password as well. Now it is aware of the username and the password. It has already it already have the username and password in its database, or else let's say if you have a AD integrated with the ClearPass or with any of the AAA server, it has already the username and password. It will send a request to the AD to fetch the actual username and password, which is going to give a value here. Okay. Now, once this value is going to come back to the AAA server, it is going to match the value which we got from here plus the value we got from here. Now, if the value is same, it is going to get an accept. If the value is not same, it is going to get a reject. As simple as that. Understood?
Yes, understood. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so I was thinking that we will talk about the radius later, but that's absolutely fine. We will talk about the radius in a very detailed manner after this AAA part is done. So accept is done, reject is done. If we like, that's the part that's going to be the authentication. Authentication. Okay. Sorry about that. So the authentication is only going to be the part where we are going to authenticate the user that the user is a legit user or a non-legit user. Okay, if user is a legit user, he will get an access. If the username and password is incorrect or the username is incorrect, it will get a reject. As simple as that. Okay, now authentication is done. Now what is going to be the second thing, which will be authorization. Now what is the difference between authentication and authorization? if anyone is aware of it, can they try to explain? If anyone is aware of it, if you're not, then it's absolutely fine.
Authentication is to check either your credentials are valid or not. Authorization is, to authorize you to use the systems and such after authentication.
Exactly. See, once authenticated, this process determines what resources the user or device is allowed to access. So right now we are only going to talk about the user. The device thing we're going to talk about when we will talk about the radius versus the TACACS protocol. So always remember, radius is always used for authenticating. Let me just write it down for you. So there are two protocols. Let's talk about the protocols since you will be able to understand it better. See, there are two protocols, radius and TACACS. See, I'm not going to talk about that. What is when did like it was invented, why it was invented. That's not a part of our curriculum. Okay, uh, we are just going to yeah, we are just going to explain the use cases. That should be it. Give me a second. Just give me a second. Let me have some water, please. Okay, perfect. See, radius and TACACS. The basic difference between this is radius is used for majorly used for, not always used for, majorly used for user authentication. Now, what does user authentication means for the end user authentication? Let's say if there is a wireless user or a wired user or any guest user, radius will be used for that. TACACS is used for device authentication. Now, what does device authentication means? Let's say if you have a Cisco router and you want to get the user authenticated, or else you want to get this device authenticated using your Active Directory or using your any integrated uh, directory, in that case, you can use a TACACS as a protocol. Now, see, always remember, you can use radius here as well, but you always have very limited options. It's not like you cannot use radius, but you can use it, but there are going to be very limited options. We're going to talk about that what are the limitations. But right now, just remember, we are going to have very limited options in radius. In TACACS, we have more customization. We can give access according to anything. I mean, if the user is able to run the show command or not, if the user is able to run the configuration command or not, you would not be able to do it in the radius. Some of the devices support it. I'm not saying it's not possible at all, but as per my experience, 99% of the device does not support command-based authorization on the radius protocol. It's not supported. In the TACACS, it do support that. Now, similarly, you cannot use TACACS protocol for the user authentication. It's not possible at all. You cannot use the TACACS protocol for user authentication. User auth, not possible. Okay. Another difference is that radius is a UDP based protocol which uses port number 1812 and 1813. Now, if you're going to Google it, it will also suggest some ports like 1645, I think 1646, but that is kind of a additional port. Most of the devices always uses 1812 and 1813. Now, what is the difference between 1812 and 1813? 1812 will be used for authentication and authorization, and 1813 will be used for accounting. Now, what is the basic difference between authentication, authorization, and accounting? We are going to talk about once we are going to cover these protocols. And TACACS uses port number 49, TCP port number 49, and everything will be covered within 49 only. Authentication, authorization, and accounting will be covered in port number 49 only. No additional port is required in this. Now, these are some basic differences. If you want to know the full form, I think that's not required at all, but you should still know that what is the full form of the protocol you're going to learn. So RADIUS stands for Remote Authentication Dial-in User Service. User Service. Now see, always remember RADIUS cover a name that is called user. So always remember it is used for the user like authentication. Now TACACS stands for Terminal Access Control. Terminal Access this controller access control system. Access control system. It's not mandatory. No one is going to ask you in like interview or anywhere that what is the full form of TACACS. That's absolutely fine if you don't remember it, but it would be fine if you can remember it anyways. Okay. The basic difference you have to always remember is that RADIUS will be used for user authentication majorly, but if the if the customer requirement is to use it for the device authentication, that is possible too, but with very limited options. Okay, TACACS uses port number port number 49 TCP, and UDP is being used by RADIUS. So 1812 is used for authentication on like authorization, 1813 is used for accounting. Okay, that is something you have to remember. Any doubts as of now? Okay, so we were talking about authorization. Now let's go to the authorization part and like understand how the authorization works. Now see, there are two sort of authorization we're going to talk about. How does it work in RADIUS and how does it work in TACACS? See, RADIUS authorization does not have so much to discuss about. Let's say, for an instance, RADIUS is going to have a protocol, have authorization and the authorization, let's say user X belongs to AD group, let's say testers. Now, what is AD group? AD group is nothing but a uh, combination of like a group of users which should have a specific access. So let's say if I want to give access to this particular network, let's say I have a SSID here, and I want to give the access to this SSID to only the AD group testers. Apart from that, like anyone else should not be able to access it. So what I will do, I will add my user X to the tester group, and once I'm going to add it, I'm going to authenticate it again, and it should be on, like it should be able to access this particular SSID. Now, once it is able to access this SSID, we should be able to access her resources, whatever are being allowed on this particular VLAN. Okay. But if user Y belongs to group engineers, is going to have, if will try to access the same SSID, it should not be able to do that. Okay, it should not be able to do that because it does not belong to this group. In my policy, I have created a condition that the user should be able to access only if it is a part of a tester group, not a part of an engineer group. Similarly, authorization is going to pull the attributes from multiple, I would say, repositories. So we can configure the authorization on the basis of Active Directory. Just give me a second. I'm getting a call. Hey guys, sorry about that. So yeah, so we're gonna have multiple repositories. Some of the repositories are AD. You can also configure your SQL DB if you have any SQL DB, which is going to have a user database. Also, it supports Azure AD.
I think your screen sharing has been stopped.
Oh, sorry about that. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's showing up.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So it supports Azure AD, SQL DB, and legacy MS, Microsoft AD, also Google LDAP. There are multiple options you can create the authorization conditions from. You are going to understand more once you will do the configuration part. Okay. So in case of Radius, we do not have much to discuss about the authorization. It's like no access or full access. It totally depends on the condition you have created for this particular VLAN. No access or full access. But that's not the case with the TACACS thing. In TACACS, you have an option to configure on the basis of the command authorization. So let's say if the user X is an administrator and want to access a service or else let's say a command configuration T, a config T. I can create a such condition that the user X should be able to access it, and the user Y at the similar time is a same admin and should not be able to access it. But that's the kind of customization TACACS give you. Not limited to configuration T, you can configure any command here. Let's say show inventory, show hardware, whatever you want. It's not limited to configuration T. It do support the TACACS, like TACACS do supports this thing in multiple devices. Let's say HPE, Juniper, Cisco, and whatnot. Okay, so that is something we like a major difference between the radius TACACS, like radius authorization and the TACACS authorization right now. Accounting part is something which is going to be, okay, give me a sec. Accounting part is going to be something which is going to be different. Accounting is creating a session. So accounting is going to tell you the things like how much bandwidth is being used by this particular user, uh, how much, what are the commands he has run in past. Okay, that is also something you can check. Uh, mm, uh, Timestamp that from how much time the session is being maintained. So accounting packets are always going to be live. So let's say if the user has accessed the router from here, the accounting packets will be sent in like interim update. So let's say if I am going to set the interim update to 5 minutes, and every 5 minutes, the router will inform the AAA server that this user is still a part of the session and has used this much of the bandwidth, has used this much of the thing XYZ. It's going to give live updates about this particular like about this particular user. So that is something which is going to be the part of accounting. Now, see, accounting is not limited to TACACS. It is also a part of a radius. So in the radius also, you can get such live information that how much bandwidth is being used and what what are the what is the VLAN the user is right now part of, and what are the services. That is also possible. You can also see what are the services the user is accessing right now. That is also part of a accounting package. So you can, there are a lot of customizations. You will like understand more once you're going to talk about it. But right now you have to just say that accounting is going to maintain a session and is going to get a live updates of the device or the user. So in case it's TACACS, it's going to be device, and in case it's user, like in case it's a radius, it's going to be a user. Okay, that is something which we can cover in device and the user. So yeah, I think this should be good. So I got an update that I may have to end this webinar for now. I will, if you have like any doubts, please feel free to reach us out for any further concerns. Right now, for now, do anyone have any doubts, anything? Please feel free to ask. Okay, then, if no one has any doubt, I think we can wrap up the lecture for now. Uh, if you are interested to learn more, please feel free to reach us out, and please feel free to reach out to the sales team. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.